Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Most of you know me, Erica Hinkson. I'm the president of our society, and welcome to our annual general meeting. This year, we opted for having our AGM online to encourage attendance, and it looks like it's working. More people are joining in, so thank you, everyone, for attending. Next slide, Antonio. So let's look at a very quick look at the agenda for today. We will begin with my report in terms of achievement and activities since the last AGM. We will welcome our new executive members and also farewell our outgoing members. We're going to spend some time on looking at the strategic plan initiative reports. We will have a report from the journal, from our treasurer, then an overview of the committee activities. And if there's any other business, please put that in the chat box there. And also, if there's any questions during the presentations, please put those in the chat as well, and we will try and answer them as we go. If we just go to the next slide, Antonio, and I'll start with my report. Thank you. So we have been working on our society's strategic plan since 2021. We work closely with past presidents and fellows, the executive committee, and the wider membership to develop this plan. Why? Because we want to modernize and streamline ISBNPA's strategic direction and plan. We invested in engaging an external strategist to support a journey of self-reflection as a society, and we wanted to establish a clear vision and mission, recognizing key priorities with the most potential impact, optimize our resources, and facilitate informed decision-making. Next slide, please. Before engaging with our external strategies, I conducted a series of interviews with our past presidents and fellows, executive committee members as well. And we reflected on what we have achieved over the years and looked at our major successes. So this slide shows a word cloud of the responses. What was shared was that our major success was due to the fact that we are a niche society in behavioral nutrition and physical activity, that we indeed have a truly international outlook. Our annual meetings have been the highlight of the year for our members, and also the yearly frequency was important, that we are strategic, that we are a professional society, particularly with having Antonio as our executive director, who many, if not all, expressed a lot of respect for Antonio for how well he supports this society, the president and the executive committee. How nurturing we are as a society. We are inclusive, but more needs to be done there. The journal and NESI are our flagships. The online exchange conference was a success, and also show how well we responded to COVID-19 situation. And that was an exemplar for other societies to follow. We also shared a strong sense of collegiality, that over the years we've experienced a massive growth, but COVID-19 put a spanner in the works. However, because we were financially stable, we survived. We survived COVID-19, and really without the health of our finances, we would not have made it. And last but not least, running the conference with a professional organization, Venue West, was also a success factor. So all these were components that contributed to the success of our society and where we are today. Next slide, please, Antonio. So following many workshops and consultation with your members, we have landed on 2 statements for our mission and vision. So our vision is that ISBNPA is the leading international research community in behavioral nutrition and physical activity, and our mission that we stimulate and promote innovative and impactful research in behavioral nutrition and physical activity to improve human health and well-being worldwide. Next slide, please. When we asked about the future, here were some responses. Keeping our identity and maintaining the focus on behavior, nutrition, and physical activity was important. We need to be cutting edge, inclusive, innovative, transdisciplinary, look into system science, a clearinghouse for best evidence, fostering the establishment of a cross-country research collaboration like IPEN, that's an example there. Be proactively advancing the practice of science across the different stages of career, and also having physical activity and nutrition science together. We are on a good trajectory. We don't have to change too much. We've been adaptive to changing, we need to be adapting to changing environments like COVID. And also we need to offer value for our members, tangible and attractive, and also to be a green ISBNPA. Next slide, please. So so here's some quotes that received during those interviews. Society's in great shape, no fear with leadership, stay in scope, focus on the big stuff, love ISBNPA, love meetings, love support for students, and society as a whole is well run. Next slide, please. So after receiving all the input, we developed our society's strategic plan. We wanted it to be impactful, sustainable, inclusive, and future focused. So we prioritized 4 initiatives. The first one was on climate action. With this initiative, we acknowledged our social responsibility and commitment to contribute towards climate action. In our strategy discussions, planetary health was a point of focus, recognizing its importance and urgency. This committee was set up to achieve 3 main objectives: to make ISBNPA carbon neutral, engage our society into climate change issues, and champion positive contributions through our science. And we're gonna hear more on this particular initiative. The second initiative that we focused on was on research impact. This initiative emerged from conversation around advocacy. In our previous mission statement, the words advocacy and policy were included. These 2 words received a fair amount of discussion. It was apparent that the broader issue was about one of impact rather than advocacy per se. And as a society, what we really aspire to is to seek ways to create a more real world impact through our research. So the goal of this initiative is to advance the impact of our research conducted by our members, and we will hear more about this very shortly. The third initiative we focused on was on inclusive culture. We have an inclusive culture that goes beyond collegiality. Our culture is at the heart of what makes ISBNPA special, and it is a unique point of difference from other societies. But we can do more. And so there's several initiatives underway, and you will hear more on this very shortly. And finally, last but not least, growing the next generation. As a society, we put a lot of our energies in inspiring and developing the next generation. Many of our stories of pride focus on Nessie and especially the intergenerational connections. So we will hear about this particular initiative very shortly as well. So through our strategic conversations, we also identify low-hanging fruit, meaning activities that are no-brainers and we can do right away without needing much resource. So the committees and subcommittees were also looking into actioning some of those. So here's some examples. Our website needed a fresh and clean look and feel. So we contracted Venue West to help us achieve that. So all the information around our strategy, our SEGs, the journal, our annual meetings, job vacancies, they're all there, very accessible, easily searched, and looks pretty good. And one of our reports will show that access to our society, to the website, has quadrupled. Another example was changing the bylaws to ensure diversity on our executive committee. And following support from you, our members, in 2021, we changed the bylaws to include members on the executive committee from all the World Health Organization regions: Africa, Asia, Europe, Oceania, North America, and South America or the Caribbean. So last year we ran elections for available positions, and I'm very pleased to welcome our 2 new members on the executive committee, and I will introduce them very shortly. Next slide. Thank you, Antonio. So the plan is, this plan is our roadmap for the next few years for our society's ongoing growth and development, inclusive governance, and sustainability. Over the last 2 years, we also meaningfully engaged with international organizations to advance the profile of our society. And these are some examples: ISPA, SBM, Wellness for Greatness Kenya, Kinesiology Federation, ERA for Health. And in the future, we would like to engage meaningfully with the World Health Organization, other key world organizations, and funding organizations as well. Another unique and exciting activity for our society is the development of a special interest group by Indigenous peoples to support Indigenous researchers and their respectful incorporation of Indigenous knowledge, systems, and practices into our research. It all started following a Dare to Share session at the last year's conference. We made some really good connections there. And for this year, any preparation for the conference in Uppsala, the group undertook a 5-part series of talking circles online with input from Indigenous and allied scholars and elders to provide direction on the formation of an Indigenous-led potential SIG. The group was successful in gaining funding from the Canadian Institutes of Health Research to support attendance to the Uppsala conference and further development of the SIG for their application. Next slide, please, Antonio. Thank you. So these are the members of the working group. Currently, we have representatives from Canada, New Zealand, US, and Sweden. And of course, there will be a call for more countries to engage. I would like to finish my report by sharing some exciting news. This year's conference is expected to be one of the best ever yet. We broke several all-time records. For example, registrations are now up to 1,287. Total presentations, 1,412, and you can see the numbers for the rest of the symposia and sessions. And we have also reached the highest number of members joining our society at 1,134 and counting. And so I just a huge thanks to everyone. You made this happen. So I'm really looking forward to our conference next month. Yeah, of course, the year would have not been as interesting or fun without the wonderful, committed, and hardworking executive committee members. I would like to thank Delphine and Amy, Sebastian, Meg, Teresia, Jenna, Lisa, Mo, Steph, Carol, Adewale, Andre, Inej, and Esther. And of course, massive thanks to Antonio. Thank you, Antonio. You have been outstanding supporting me at the society and also the executive committee. So thank you very much. Sadly, we farewell Amy, Yarok, and Sebastian Chaston as their terms have come to an end. Thank you both for your dedication, commitment, and love for our society. Amy, you have done an extraordinary job as chair of the Finance Committee. Thank you. And Seb with the Comms and Climate Action Committees. The good news is that Seb will continue as chair of the Climate Action Committee, so he won't be too far away. But Amy also always, offers her help with whatever we need. So Amy will be close as well, close by. So thank you, Amy. And now it gives me great pleasure to welcome Deborah Salvo and Andrea Ramirez Varela as representatives of the South America and the Caribbean region. From June 2023, it will be the first time where the executive committee will have representation from all the World Health Organization regions. So welcome both, and delighted to have you as part of the team. You're amazing women, you know it, and thank you so much for being part of our team. This year, we will call for elections for the 2024 Executive Committee. So please nominate yourselves or your colleagues. Nominations are going to be called in September and elections in November. 5 members at large. We're seeking for 5 members at large, one of which will be an ECR, that's an early career researcher, and 1 student representative, and also 1 president-elect. So we will need to start thinking about the next president. Okay, great. So next up are the strategic initiative reports. So I will ask Antonio to tell us a little bit more about climate action.
Okay, so I'm handling this report on behalf of Seb, that is unable to be here, is traveling at this time. And the climate action, as Erica just mentioned, is one of our strategic plan initiatives, and the one that is more focused on what we can call long determinism. So we are thinking quite further in the future. And so our objectives are the ones, as you can read there, and we have established a committee that is as these colleagues that you can see here, that are EC members or colleagues that we invited and or approached us to become part of this exciting initiative. And at this point, what we have done mostly was figuring out how much does the society invests. I prefer to call it an investment and not an expenditure. So an investment in the carbon footprint that we have. And so we are drafting a carbon management plan, and we are trying to estimate the current carbon footprint of the society. And as part of that, you have kindly answered to some questions during the registration for the conference. We asked you how much your flight was investing in terms of the carbon, and at this point we were able to say that it's a interesting number because it's all fives, so 5,555 tons of carbon that we invested for this for our conference just on travel. So this means that it's clearly an underestimation, and we are now collecting data on the food that we're going to have at the conference and the venue, and so having all that information to calculate our carbon. If you want to have an idea about what does this mean for each one of you, we calculated that on average, we will be investing individually around 60% of our carbon footprint, or the average carbon footprint in each country. So for example, for Portugal, I think it's 6 tons per year that we expend or invest. And this means that I spent 3 tons of carbon to travel to Uppsala. So we have been doing some other stuff. For example, we launched some videos with ISPA. We are connecting with them very closely to try to find ways to and so to find synergies to move forward with the carbon footprint plan. But at this point, we have some challenges. The most challenging thing is this is becoming a business. When we try to audit or to measure the carbon footprint of societies such as ours, there's a lot of businesses that are offering those services, but we don't know if we are able to trust them because there are so many, and it's not clear which ones are doing the right stuff or which ones are just pushing some crazy ideas to us. So this means that we do need some more people to the Climate Action Committee. So feel free to join in or to let us know. And our future plans is that we are going to appoint a business that will be doing our measurements, because those measurements should be independent, but we need to be very careful about this process. And also we need to figure it out some other initiatives that the society has. The conference is one of them, but the other one is the journal. So we are also asking to the publisher of the journal what is the cost in terms of carbon, and also considering having a special session in our journal that is mentioning the climate action research. And this is what I have for the climate action committee. So I move forward to, it's going to be Lisa.
Lisa, thank you, Antonio. Lisa?
Hello, everyone. I will provide an update on the strategic plan focused on impact. So the aim of this particular project is really about working towards that mission of ISBNPA for stimulating both innovative and impactful research. And we have a really strong team. I'm supported by Esther, Seren, Erica Hinkson, Leonardus Karaganis, Sonia, who I think is here on the call. We've got Shiho Ama and Yikai Chan as well. Next slide, please. So the goal of our strategic initiative that we're working towards is to advance the impact of behavioural nutrition and physical activity research that is conducted by our membership. And we're focused on three key areas. The first is to define and understand how research impact is being measured, so that we can then guide and mobilise our research impact for our society. So there are three key activities that we are working on. At the moment, we're currently working through the first activity, which is about defining research impact. So we've undertaken a scoping review of both grey and academic literature, and we're currently compiling those results. We are now looking to extend that scoping review of research impact definitions more globally, so we can represent a much more global view. And the QR code there will take you to a form to help us gather more information. I'll talk about that in just a moment. The next step that we will move towards is understanding how research impact is measured, and we'll undertake again a scoping review to look at the best practice ways of measuring research impact, and from then start to build some guidelines, some activities, and some action that we can take forward. Next slide, please. So since we began the strategic plan, we've convened this working group, and we've brought on support of some research fellows that have been absolutely fantastic. And we're making substantial progress towards the scoping review, but we're now extending that review to our wider ISBNPA membership. And this is because we do want to incorporate a global definition or viewpoint on research impact. So we welcome you to contribute. We're asking if our members can please gather definitions of research impact that are being used by their own university or institution, but also funders from their regions, and we will collate that information so we can have a good definition of research impact to move forward. Anything else there? Oh, so that's where we're at with the impact group. A couple of challenges that we've encountered so far has been just the resource time, and so bringing on research fellows has been very important for us making progress, and they've made substantial contributions. The other one is really to bring that global view, so that's why we're bringing in this request and invitation to our membership.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Adewale, would you mind speaking to this?
Yeah, thank you, Erika. Yeah. I will want to start by acknowledging the members of the Inclusive Culture Working Group, from Antonio, who have been providing guidance using his deep knowledge of the ISBNPA culture to guide us in the right direction. I will also want to thank Teresia, Katrina, and Mo for their wonderful contribution to the working group, and to Carol for her leadership as the co-chair of the working group. And I will especially want to acknowledge Ben Singh, who is one of the 3 volunteers that were recruited to help the working group in our activities. Ben has been extremely wonderful. He indeed prepared the slides and also the report for the working group that I will be talking to. Yeah. Next slide. So the overall goal of the inclusive culture working group was basically to promote inclusivity and diversity in ISBNPA membership leading to the 2024 conference in Omaha in the United States. And our focus has been to increase membership and engagement from participants from low and medium income countries. And we also aim to further increase participation and engagement from high income countries that are not well represented within ISBNPA in its current state. Next slide, please. So what have we been doing in the past 12 months? We've created an ambassador program, and this program is basically to recruit or attract leading researchers and activists, physical activity activists, to act as champions and an ambassador to help promote the work of ISBNPA within low and medium income countries, and also in underrepresented countries, in high income countries. So what we've done is that we have, as of today, we've gotten about 9 ambassadors who are willing to help promote the work of ISBNPA. And in this regard, these ambassadors will be recognized for their involvement by receiving a free membership for the 2023 conference. And also, they will also be highlighted and showcased on the ISBNPA website and other social media platforms. Next slide, please. So we also continue with the ISBNPA Pioneer Program, which is basically to provide research scholarship to researchers and students from low and medium income countries to be able to conduct pilot studies, and also for those who are short of funding for their for their ongoing project. These pilot studies are also meant to help them complete their study. And as of now, we've been able to award up to 5 funding to different investigators from low and medium income countries. And these investigators will be able to present the result of their research that were funded by the Pioneer Program in the 2023 ISBNPA conference. And next one, please. No. So what are we going to be doing going forward for the remainder of the year? We plan to continue with the ambassador program, and we aim to be able to expand the ambassador from 9 maybe to up to 12. And we also continue to drive ISBNPA membership, especially in underrepresented country. We aim to do this by engaging more on social media, and also engaging with past members who have not renewed their membership. We plan to organize more workshops and webinars, and to disseminate these more strongly in low and medium income countries. That is, we plan to advertise this more broadly within low and medium income countries, so that we can ensure that current members and also future members get values for their money as a member of ISBNPA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adewale. Thank you very much. Great work.
Okay.
And Antonio, would you mind speaking to this? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So our fourth initiative is the Growing the Next Generation. And the main initiative that we are having for this one is what we call the Leadership Development Program. Is being developed and planned by Gina Hollis and Steph with a team that it's quite large. And so you can see all the names here: David Crawford, Catherine Draper, so fellows from the society, and also some new or younger colleagues like Simone and Sarah, and representatives from early career like Anna and Trinka, and some colleagues that are helping on developing this plan. I also want to acknowledge Ashley Cox, because he's going to be instrumental on the code design that we are planning to do for the leadership development program. And so, as you can see, this is what it's the main task ahead, and we have been doing. I think every other month we have a meeting, and there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So I really want to acknowledge the work from Gina and Steph on this. And what are the challenges ahead? Because the main thing that we are concerned about is that we should have this course to the highest quality possible, but at the same time to be sustainable, to be inclusive. And that's not an easy thing. When we started looking, for example, for other leadership development programs, that they can easily go for $5,000 per year or something like this. So we don't want to do that. But we are going to be, I'm not saying competing, but at least our colleagues will look into those as other options. So our focus was instead of trying to have a top-down course and curriculum, we started looking for advice and looking for insights from several colleagues. Again, as I showed you, fellows that have been around for a few years, at least, early career students, and collect a lot of data that is now being worked upon. And we will also conduct some workshops at the conference that are not really a workshops to provide information, but more together information in a co-creation, in a participatory fashion. The idea is to pilot test the first course in 2024. It should have a few activities in Omaha 2024, more visible, and from then on, the course will be open to everyone to join in. And this is mostly what we have been doing for the Growing the Next Generation initiative.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you very much. Rick, you're next.
All right. Well, I am so happy to be with all of you, and it feels like Phoenix is a long time ago, so I'm really looking forward to getting together again in Sweden. You can advance the slide there, Antonio, next. So this is just our annual report from the journal. Go ahead with the next. And I will tell you a little bit of the highlights of our success today, and the success really starts with a great team. So we have a great team among the editors and the editorial board. So you see me up top there. I've been the editor-in-chief since June of last year, picking up the torch from Hidde before me. And of course, Hidde deserves much credit for setting us up for continued success. Next to me there is Sunday, and he is our journal manager. Hidde and his assistant or journal manager, Leonie, really helped us to continue all of the good practices for the journal. Leonie actually stayed on with me for an additional month after Hidde stepped down, and that was tremendously helpful for me getting my bearings with the journal. Just others to credit here. Esther stepped down. Of course, you know, she's stepped up to something else, and Kirsten has stepped down as deputy editors-in-chief, but they all deserve some credit. Delphine has joined us as deputy editor-in-chief, joining Claire and Nana there. And then just a special announcement for June of this year, Professor Melanie Hingle from the University of Arizona is going to be joining me as the co-editor-in-chief going forward. So I'm very excited to see what the journal can do with her help. And we can go forward to the next slide. So I'll just give you some of these brief summary stats. And of course, if we're together, or if you want to chat after this, if we're together in Sweden, I'll be happy to tell you a little bit more. We're continuing to attract quite a few submissions, on average around 75 submissions per month, some months more than others. We have an acceptance rate of about 17% of those. So about 1 in 6 of those 900 or so are getting eventually accepted and published in the journal. And that means about 82% are not. Okay, we can go to the next slide. And just some more stats for the breakdown of around those 900. The overwhelming majority of those are characterized as research manuscripts. Research and review manuscripts are the top 2 there. We only have just a little bit of other types of articles, including commentary, debate, methodology, and short papers. And you can see the associated acceptance rates of those, which generally hover in that 20% range or so. Yeah, you can go ahead. Next slide. Now, we've seen quite a number of, or a massively increased number of submissions from China. So we saw 181 in 2022 submissions from China, but we've not yet seen that impact the number of accepted from China. So our top 3 countries for both submissions and acceptances of manuscripts are the USA, Australia, and the United Kingdom, which collectively comprise more than half of our accepted articles. And you can go to the next slide. We've done well, and we were just hearing about impact. Certainly impact factor is only one aspect of impact, but we've been doing well in that capacity. So we saw a large jump last year. We should get new numbers here probably in the next month or so. I personally don't expect it to stay quite that high, but I think we'll be doing well in impact factor. And you can go to the next slide. And just here's some summary. These are coming from BMC, and you see some other metrics on there. Ones that stand out to me besides the impact factor are that usage. So 3 million downloads, that really stands out to me. And then down at the bottom, we've had 0 papers retracted. So those are both very important metrics to me. And you can go ahead and advance. And just want to thank you again for allowing me to serve in this capacity. I do look forward to working with Melanie and the rest of the team. Special shout out to Teresia, who's on the call, and she served as an associate editor, stepped down late last year. But that's about it for my report. Thank you.
Rick, would you like to mention on the co-leadership for the journal?
Yeah, I did. Once again, Professor Melanie Hingle will be serving as co-editor-in-chief, and she's on the call with us today. I see her on camera.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Erica. Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to joining.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melanie. Great. Let's go to Meg.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to share the Treasurer and the Finance report on behalf of the Finance Committee, and this work would not be possible. Our chair is Amy Yarrow, and we're supported by our past treasurer, Jennifer Lindy, Marie Loaf, who has had her hands busy this year, as well as Scott Duncan and Antonio. So what you're looking at here is our annual income. And a couple of things that I wanted to point out is that 2020 and 2021 were not surprisingly tough years for the society because of the pandemic. And we really made an effort of supporting our members by providing free membership in those years and lower rates for our exchange. And because of that, our income was a little bit less. As you can see, when we had in-person meetings in 2022 and now 2023, we've been able to see our income rise, which is exciting. And I think there's been some activity within the journal that has also been able to help our income increase. People are really excited about Uppsala, and so our donations for Uppsala have also increased over years past. Yeah, next slide, please. Thanks, Antonio. So as you can see, our expenses have remained, when we had exchange meetings, the expenses were lower. But when we go to in-person meetings, the expenses go higher. And you may have noticed on the last slide, the number was a little bit higher than what we normally see, but which is great that we're having record numbers of submissions and attendance and membership. But this is one of our most expensive meetings to date, if not the most expensive meeting. And because of that, we expect to make a bit of a profit, but at least to break even, which we're excited about. Next slide, please, Antonio. So things that we've worked on for the committee, we really expect to have a strong year this year. And that's been helpful to support all of the strategic initiatives that you've heard about. We have some ongoing deposits for our conferences that we've had to postpone. And so our reserves are a little bit higher than even what I showed on the last page. A couple of things have happened globally. The US changed their tax code, which has made some of our payments a little bit more challenging. So we've been really looking at having a second account outside of the US, which is complicated by tax laws. So exploring working with accountants that can help facilitate, as we're all behavioral researchers, don't necessarily have those expertise. In addition, the Finance Committee has been talking about for years ways to generate additional revenue outside of the conference, such as the webinars that we provide free for anyone. Those could be another member-only benefit to explore, and we've looked at other factors as well. So we've been sort of holding steady as a Finance Committee. Next slide, please. I want to thank Amy Aro for her leadership as finance chair. Since she is rolling off of the executive committee, she is also rolling off of finance committee chair. And Amy and her staff at Gretchen Swanson have been really instrumental in helping me be treasurer. So I really support that, as well as Jennifer Lindy, who is the past treasurer. She held 2 terms and has helped guide us on the finance committee with her deep knowledge of the treasurer role and the finances of ISBNPA. So really appreciate their efforts, and excited that Scott Duncan is going to take over as finance committee chair this next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you so much. Delphine?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Hi,
Over
everyone.
to you.
Yes, thank you. So I will be presenting briefly the activities of the ISBNPA committees of last year. So I will present the report for the Special Interest Group, or the SIX committee, then for the communications, and for the membership committee. So first, I will give an overview of the activities of the SIC committee that's chaired by Scott and Theresia. So on this slide, you can see an overview of the members of the SIC committee. And as you can see, we have representatives of each SIC, and many of the SIC leaders are involved in the SIC committee. So next slide. So on this slide, you can see a brief summary of the activities of the SIC committee last year. So first, they appointed new SIC committee members, and then there were quarterly meetings with the SIC committee, and the SICs themselves, they provided guidance on the format and the purpose of these meetings. So during these meetings, executive committee notifications and updates were shared. Several aspects of the webinars and the meetings of the SICs were discussed, and also the SIC funding was allocated. Another thing that was done, I'm not sure if you have so many time, but I can maybe briefly give an overview of that as well. That, of course, the SIC terms of reference were adopted by all SICs, and some new processes were put in place to give the SICs a greater role in the conference planning and preparation. So next slide, Antonio. Here you can see an overview of the newsletters and the webinars that was sent and organized by the 6. And as you can see, almost all 6 sent several new newsletters, and the webinars that were organized were well attended as well. So nice work there, I think. And at the conference in Uppsala this year, the sessions will again be organized based on the 6. So there will be tracks based on the different 6. And here you can also see quite a good representation of each of the 6. Some are a bit less represented and some more, but I think that's quite normal. But it's nice to see that all the 6 have quite some abstracts accepted for the annual meeting. Next one, please. So that was it for the SIG committee. If there, Scott or Theresia, if there will be any additions, you can let them know as the chairs.
Just to quickly thank all the SIG leadership. They've put a lot of time and effort, all volunteers, and do a lot of work behind the scenes and drive a lot of the activity for ISBNPA. So just wanted to put out a thanks to them. Also to Theresia and Julia McPhee, who's the secretary of the committee and does most of the communications. And if anyone else wants to know more about the SIGs, please feel free to get in touch with either me or Antonia. Thanks, Stephanie.
Okay, thanks for the addition, Scott. So the next committee that I will briefly summarize their activities from here is the communications committee. So what do we see here on this first slide? We see in the number of followers that the ISBNPA has on social media, and we see that this is still slightly increasing this year. And the largest number of followers is on Twitter, which is, I think, also the platform on which ISBNPA is really active. And maybe important to mention as well is that the communications committee is led by Ines, who is also here, so she can maybe also add some things after I finished the summary. Next slide. If you look here at the analytics of the website, I think here is a really interesting one. The ISBNPA website has been renewed, as Erica also mentioned, and you can really see this in a large growth in the number of visitors. If you see the orange bar on the right of the left graph, you really see quite a strong increase in the number of visitors, which shows that people find their way to the website. Regarding the newsletters, there were 43 newsletters that were sent, and the numbers regarding the opening and the clicks and the sends are quite similar to last year. Next slide, please. Ines, do you have anything to add regarding the communications?
I just want to thank the NESI committee, who is supporting the comms committee with news around the NESI group, and also Anne from Venue West, who is helping a lot at this stage for the annual meeting news. So thank you. Okay, thanks, Ines. Then the final committee report is quite a large one. It's from the membership committee. So it's a quite extensive committee, as you see here, with 5 subcommittees. And the overall ISBNPA membership committee is chaired by Carol, who is also present here. And you see also the subcommittees also have each their own chairs, but I will not all name them by name. But of course, we want to thank them as well, but I don't think I have enough time to all name them. So we have 5 subcommittees, and I will give a brief overview of the committees of each 5 of them. But first, some more general information regarding the membership. Currently, we have 1,134 ISBNPA members from 48 countries. This also reflects the large success of the ISBNPA conference, of course. But it's nice to see that we have so many members currently. The vast majority of our members is still from high-income countries, 93%. But compared to the last years, we have a small increase in the members of high-income countries. And we have 705 regular members and 382 student members in ISBNPA. So the NESI is, of course, the first subcommittee of the membership, and NESI represents the network of early career researchers and students of ISBNPA. So what did they do last year? Quite a lot, I think. They organized several workshops and webinars. I think they also have a workshop planned at the Uppsala conference, like the half-day pre-conference workshop. And at the conference in Phoenix and also at the upcoming conference in Uppsala, they will also organize several network events. They also send out monthly newsletters, regularly put early career researchers in the spotlight on the website, and they communicate through their blog and through Twitter, so they are really active there. And they also launched a new NESI research project focusing on the perspectives of students and ECR researchers on the research climate in a post-pandemic world. So more communication will also be done about that during the conference. Then we have the capacity building network, another subcommittee of the membership. What they did last year is they worked on the optimization of their website, and they organized a webinar on nonlinear career trajectories. And they will also be organizing a Dare to Share session in Uppsala, which will also be quite interesting, I think. And a major thing there is that they also help to develop the leadership development program that's led by Jenna Hollis and Steph Chappell, which is integrated in the Grow the Next Generation initiative that Antonio already explained earlier on in this meeting. Then we have the mentoring program. This program has been undergoing some redevelopments last year. So the mentoring database was updated. We recontacted mentors and mentees and contacted new mentors and mentees. And they also started the recruitment of new members. Furthermore, the design of the mentoring page has been redeveloped and redesigned. And I think at the ISBNPA conference at Uppsala, there will be some new activities from the renewed mentoring program. And there is also a Meet the Mentors lunch. So I think this really received some new attention, which is really nice to see. Then the Pioneer program, as Antonio and also Adewale also already mentioned, they received quite a lot of proposals, and they awarded 5 scholarships this year. So that's also nice to see. And finally, the awards committee was restructured. No, the committee itself was not restructured, but they restructured the way they will give awards during the ISBNPA conference at Uppsala. And there will be like shared poster sessions and awards sessions during which the decisions will be made regarding the awards. So we really will bundle these sessions now. Also the 6 will be involved in the decision and the judging for the awards. And it's also nice to see that after a COVID break, some ISBNPA awards are now restarted again. So we will have the Lifetime Achievement Award again and the One to Watch award again. So that's for the membership. I don't know, Carol, do you have any additions there or something to mention?
No, thanks, Delphine. That's all good. You've covered it all.
Okay. So I now hand over to Erica again, who will give some final information.
You're unmuted. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Delphine. And thank you, everyone who presented so far. Our next annual meeting will take place in Omaha, Nebraska, led by Amy Yarrock's team. And the year after would be in 2025, we'll be back in Auckland, New Zealand. If you remember, we were scheduled to run the conference in 2020, but COVID hit us. So we had to move the conference to 2025. They're also still holding our down payment for the venue, so we need to go back. And then for 2026, bids are being prepared for review later in the year of our next location. So this year in Uppsala, Sweden, next year Omaha, Nebraska, and then Auckland, New Zealand. Antonio, would you also
yes
have the other slide up? Yeah.
Just a minute.
Thank you.
But maybe you can start saying what we are going to.
Yeah. So I just wanted the last thing I wanted to say is that my term will come to an end after the Uppsala conference. And therefore, of course, I'm delighted to announce that the incoming president, that's Esther Saren. And Esther was unable to be here with us today. She really wanted to, but you will hear more from Esther, during our conference. Just a little bit about Esther. She's a psychologist, epidemiologist, statistician. Her research in the last 18 years focused on physical activity and health, strong emphasis on environmental determinants like both the natural and social environment, and more recently, air pollution. She's currently the program leader for the Behavioral, Environment, and Cognition Research Group at the Mary McKinlop Institute for Health at ACU, that's Auckland Catholic University in Melbourne, Australia. So we will, at the closing ceremony, we will ask Esther to give her inaugural speech. And that's it really. That concludes our business today. Steph, Prince, I know you have put something on the chat regarding courses on methods. So did you want to say a little bit more about that before we finish?
Oh, sorry, I just changed to go do a workout, so I'm not going to put my camera on.
That's okay. But, you don't have to put your camera on.
Just to say, I was curious because I for somebody who can't always attend the conference, I see these pre-conference workshops a lot and go, oh, that would be really interesting to attend. And these presenters obviously put a lot of time and effort into preparing these conference workshops. So I wondered if there was any way to sort of make these available after the conference to the wider ISBNPA membership, and or maybe charge a fee like you were talking about for other sources of revenue, but something like that, it would be great to be able to access some of those workshops after the fact. So not all of us can attend in person, but some of us can't even make it to the workshops. So that would be a great advantage.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you that's a great suggestion. Antonio, would you like to reply in terms of how we've done it in the past?
So the idea now is to integrate some of those workshops in the leadership developing program, and also to growing the next generation. Because one thing is to do the in-person workshop, another thing is doing the same thing in an online setting. It doesn't seem to work as well, but we are, of course, looking into that, as I was saying, at the development for the leadership program. And I see also that you have another question, the Lifetime Achievement and the One to Watch Awards. They will be open, we will open maybe later in the year, a bid for expressions of interest and nominees for that. So it's the call is open, and then there's the award committee that selects the one that are awarded for that specific year.
Super, thank you.
Thanks, Steph. Enjoy your workout. All right, everyone.
I will, thanks.
Thank you all very much. If you have any other questions or suggestions, of course, you can email us. But thank you all for being here today. It was great. I think it's a great idea, Antonio, to do the AGM online because we had more members attending this time around. So thank you all, everyone, for your hard work, dedication, and love for our society. So enjoy the rest of your day, evening, and we'll see everybody in Uppsala, Sweden. It's going to be a fantastic conference. I can't wait. I'm very excited about that. So thanks, everybody, and goodbye.